All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our midday market update. I'm Jerry D'Ambrosio, filling in today for Ryan Shook. Ryan is, I believe, in St. Thomas. I saw some pictures he posted on Facebook. Looks like he's having a good time. Well-deserved vacation for Ryan. Happy to be here, guys, with you guys today. So, where are you joining us from? Love to see some familiar names in there. Thank you, James. Type in VV Nation, guys, in that chat box. Let us know where you're joining us from. We are, of course, live from the Charlotte, North Carolina area. 51 and rainy today, so pretty cold. I didn't realize how cold Joey kept the studio. It was freezing in here when I walked in here today, but warming up nicely. Welcome, Penny. There you go. Greg. Awesome, man. Alfredo. Welcome, everybody. All right, so what we're going to do today, guys, switching gears a little bit, doing things a little different today. I'm going to go through, it is earnings season, of course, so we'll go through the NASDAQ earnings calendar, take a look at the week ahead. Some big names are reporting their earnings this week, some big Mag 7 stocks. So we'll look at the week in earnings. We'll look at what's moving the market today, because it's something different every day. But some pretty good news over the weekend. U.S.-China trade tensions seem to be easing. The market is rallying nicely, or continuing the rally that we saw from Friday. So hopefully it continues. We'll look at your stocks. I'll take a bunch of your picks. I also want to keep you guys up to speed on the Nets Nitro and Turbo trading systems. You guys familiar with those? I believe those are two of the very best automated trading systems that we have in the VectorVest system. So you guys should be trading them in one form or another, whether it's the Nitro or the Turbo. But I'll give you guys an update on those, because one of them did just trigger an order this morning. You know, we got the confirmed up call a couple of days ago. So, you know, once the confirmed call comes, the confirmed up call comes, it's time to take action. So we did that, and we'll take a look at both of those trading systems. All right. Welcome, James, Jake, Kyle. Awesome. All right, let's get started, guys. I am at the NASDAQ calendar here. Today is Monday, October 7th, so happy Monday to everybody. You can see the companies that are reporting today. Looks like Welt Tower, Cadence Design Systems, pretty big company here, Waste Management. This is sorted by market cap. I think that's the best way to do it, just to bring to the top the bigger companies, right? The larger companies that are reporting on a daily basis. You can see the consensus earnings per share as well, among some other things. So today is what, the 27th? Yep, and this is, we're looking at Monday the 27th. Cool. So just at the top, not a pretty busy day in terms of today's reports. You got Hartford Insurance Company, Arch Capital, Nucor Corporation, so some of the big names that are reporting today. Tomorrow, week heats up a little bit. We got Visa, United Health Group, NextEra, Booking Holdings, so some pretty big companies there, American Tower. And then Wednesday is the big day. 5, I believe. Well, this week I know 5 of the Mag 7 stocks are reporting this week. So Microsoft, Google, Meta, to name a few of the big ones. You got Caterpillar, ServiceNow as well, Boeing. So Wednesday's a pretty big week. As far as earnings go, earnings reports, if I go to Thursday, and there's Apple and Amazon. So there are 5 of the top Mag 7. What was it? What is it? Tesla and Netflix? Mag 7. Or, I said Amazon, yeah. So there's Apple and Amazon. Eli Lilly reporting tomorrow. MasterCard, reporting on Thursday. MasterCard, Merck. And then a pretty quiet day on Friday. Some oil companies reporting on Friday. So Exxon, Chevron to lead the pack as far as some of the bigger companies that are reporting on Friday. Oil has been in the news recently. President Trump did announce sanctions on 2 of Russia's biggest oil companies. So oil took a tumble on Friday. I'm not sure what it's doing today. We'll take a look once we get in there. But as far as the earnings go, guys, pretty busy week with 5 of the Mag 7 stocks reporting on Wednesday. Okay? What is moving the market today? It does seem like every day is something different, but today is a nice continuation, nice rally. The headline here at the top, I'm in investing.com. I know Ryan likes to use CNBC. Great resource as well. It's a trusty source. You got to wonder some days where if you trust the information that you're getting online with everything being manipulated in some way or another. But investing.com, I like the website. Some pretty good information there. Headline is U.S. stocks rise strongly, optimism over Fed meeting, and U.S.-China talks. So if I scroll down to the article, President Trump is currently in Japan. He's meeting with their emperor today, and I know that he meets with President Xi, President of China, on Wednesday. From what I understand, and the news that really came out overnight or over the weekend, is that tensions are easing. Scott Bessent said that trade talks are progressing. Trump also said that it looks like we might have a deal in place. As he likes to say, we'll see what happens, because you never know. But it does seem that there is optimism about U.S.-China coming to an agreement. President Trump did say, I think it was a week or two ago, that November 1st is another deadline where 100% tariffs will be applied. Let's hope we can kind of skirt that and come to some sort of an agreement. But the Fed meeting is this week as well. So they meet this week. They conclude their meeting on Wednesday. With cooler than expected CPI numbers that came in on Friday, it did boost sentiment. It did boost optimism that the Fed will cut rates on Wednesday. Okay, so we're looking at a 25 basis point cut. Markets will be watching closely for signs and comments from Fed Chair on whether the central bank could ease further in the coming months. So an ING analyst did say recently that we continue to look for a 25-point basis cut on Wednesday, with a further 25 basis point move in December and a 50 basis point cut early in 2026. So that will really give the market a nice kick in the pants. We're hoping that that's the case. But also adding to that upbeat tone, again, U.S.-Chinese officials reached a quote-unquote framework understanding, that's rather vague, on key trade issues over the weekend. So that's really the news, guys, that's pumping the market here today. And again, Scott Bessent said that both sides have agreed to defer fresh tariff threats and pause China's planned restriction on rare earth exports. Okay? And again, Trump says, I think we're going to have a deal with China. So we'll see how that plays out here this week. Big tech earnings in focus. We talked about that. 5 of the Mag 7, Microsoft, Meta, Google, Apple, and Amazon all report Wednesday and Thursday of this week. So AI investment, cloud demand, consumer spending trends will be what investors are watching for when those companies do report. Elsewhere, you have Dr. Pepper, Keurig Dr. Pepper. The stock surged higher after softdrink the Giants lifted its forecast for annual sales and said it had raised about $7 billion to finance its purchase of Dutch coffee giant Peet's. Okay. Qualcomm also jumped higher today after the company announced its entry into the data center AI market. Interesting, with 2 new inference-optimized chips designed to compete with NVIDIA's. Interesting. Gold prices also retreated today. So with the market rallying and risk on assets back in focus, the safe haven, which is generally gold, did retreated on Friday, also pulling back today, down quite a bit today. But oil prices also steady today after last week's strong gains, but still kind of eyeing the Russian sanctions to see how oil will respond. You can see crude prices soared last week after the U.S. imposed fresh restrictions on Russia's oil industry, this time targeting the country's 2 biggest oil firms, I believe. And then gold prices fell, extending losses from last week as easing U.S. trade tensions eroded bullion's safe haven demand. So with tensions easing over in China, it does seem like the safe haven that is generally gold has been put on the shelf for now. You can see it slipped about 2.8%. I'm going to go to, let's see, markets, indices. No, not indices, futures. I just want to look at all the indices. Go indices, whoops, markets, indices, major indices. Everything's up today nicely. You can see Dow 257, S&P up about 67. I'm going to do something here. There we go. I wanted to see the commodities box on the right-hand side. S&P up about 67 points. NASDAQ 374. Big day for tech stocks. A little over 1.5%. Russell 2000 small cap stocks rather flat today. And if we look over on our gadgets on the right-hand side, a lot of information here. This is why I like investing.com. Everything you need to really know about the markets right here. If I go to our commodities box, you can see gold down, wow, a little over 3% today. Silver down over 4% today. Soybeans up nicely. So there was soybeans have been in the news as well. President Trump, his administration plans to invest, I believe, into soybeans. And then we don't have, let's see, I like looking at crypto as well. I got to put crypto in here. Let me put crypto, and I'm going to get rid of stocks. Put the crypto tab, apply it. Nah, we won't do that. But crypto's up as well, okay? Bitcoin's up. A lot of the coins are up today. So if you are trading iBit or any of the coin ETFs, I know Ethereum has one as well. MSTU, that's strategies, leveraged, I think it's leveraged ETF, MicroStrategy, heavily tied to Bitcoin. So if you're trading those, you're pretty happy today. But oil is up about 1/3% today, okay? I always like to look at the news for the week as well. So if I go to Tools, Economic Calendar, nothing really today. And of course, the government shutdown is going to delay a lot of data. But if I go to tomorrow, doesn't look like there's much in terms of reports tomorrow. Let me go to this week. Let's look at all of this week, okay? And again, with the government shutdown, we might not see much here. Tuesday, car registration. I don't think that's a big market mover. If I scroll down to Wednesday, I think we're looking at all the countries here. I'd have to log in to look at anything else. But mortgage rates, mortgage index, refinance index on Wednesday. And oil reports on Wednesday as well. So if you are trading oil, you got crude oil inventories, crude oil imports on Wednesday. So be aware of that, again, if you are trading oil. Okay? All right. Let's get right into it, guys. Let's take a look at what the market's doing first. I mentioned all the major indices are higher. We got a green light in the price column of the color guard. The other two columns, though, RT and buy to sell ratio, are yellow at the moment. I know we had a couple more green lights here at the open, but we have kind of drifted away from the open. MTI still above 1. You know, even with the consolidation that the market was going through last week, it's been about 2 or 3 weeks now, the MTI never fell below 1. It got close, got 1.07 or so, but the MTI never fell below 1. You could see that the confirmed call that we received, the confirmed down call that we got on October 18th, very short-lived. And that's okay. You know, we give you the confirmed down because the market falls for a couple of weeks, right? Buy to sell ratio goes below 1. We always say that you should never ignore a confirmed down signal. So what should you have done when the confirmed down call was given on October, 16th? You should always take action. So whether it's tightening up your stops, whether it's taking profits, maybe placing hedge bets on the long positions in your portfolio. By no means do we ever say that when a confirmed down call is given that you should completely just go to cash. Unless you're trading an automated system, that's the rule, where you go automatically into cash, because historically that's the way the portfolio performs the best, with all the variables included. But just if you're generally managing a portfolio, kind of self-directing, doing so manually, where you're cherry picking stocks, you're using stop criteria, you have an exit plan. It's not automated, it's not fully automated, but you're using the confirmed calls as a guide to allocate your assets, right? So whether it's a confirmed up call where you're pushing more money out there, or it's a confirmed down call where you're doing the opposite. You're trimming positions, you're reducing exposure. That's what you should have done on October 17th. When we got that confirmed down signal. Now things have changed, right? Because look, if I go to I'm going to open this color guard up, go from small to medium, that's a mess, right? 3 weeks now of history here, the color guard's history, where you have all three colors here mixed in at the same time, right? There's no consistency with, with the colors, which means there's no consistency with the market. There's no true direction. Todd Schaefer calls this the Christmas tree color guard, right? Where you have all three colors mixed in at the same time. I mean, you're flipping back between red and green on a daily basis. That generally doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in a trending market, that's for sure. So when you're non-trending, when you're non-directional, this is the type of color guard that you're going to get. And Jim Penna would always say, when the color guard looks like this, it's doing its job. It's telling you guys that, hey, this is not a comfortable environment. The market is non-trending. You should adjust your plan accordingly. So it becomes a little bit more clear when I go into a market timing graph. Go to the graphs, go to market timing. Here's the VectorVest composite. I'm using a white background here, so I might have to change a few things around. But just looking at the last, several months ago, so this is my account. So I like keeping lines that I draw on my charts. This is the pattern that the VectorVest, let me go back a couple of days. So this was hard right edge October 23rd, and this is what the VVC was doing for about 3 weeks. After we made a new high, we retreated. That was Friday. That was a couple of Fridays ago on October 10th. Market rallied for a couple of days, retreated again for a couple, rallied for one, retreated. We were kind of alternating up day and down day. It makes things very difficult for everybody to make money in that type of an environment, right? When you have no trend and you think you're on the right side of it because you have a signal. You have either a primary wave up, you have a green light in the price column of the color guard, you think you have a signal, and then the signal flips. And you think you have a bearish signal, and the signal flips again. So again, in this type of situation, this type of consolidation, by the way, guys, right, we're still in an uptrend. Technically, this is the VectorVest composite. We're only a week or two, couple of weeks off of the actual top. It's almost like a pennant. If you guys are familiar with continuation chart patterns, this is almost a pennant formation. Let me see. Let me type in VVC. I'm going to look at the VVC on a chart. Because when you look at the VectorVest composite as a stock symbol, you can apply volume. You can put volume down at the bottom. And with pennant formations, if we're just looking at a stock, with pennant formations, it's very similar to a bull flag, right? You have a flagpole, you have a prior uptrend, and then you have a period of consolidation, whether it's a horizontal period, right? That looks kind of like this. Okay, kind of like that, just a horizontal rectangle where you have consolidation that bounces back and forth between horizontal prices, horizontal support and resistance zones, generally roughly the same price. This is a little different. This is a wedge triangle formation where prices are getting squeezed a little tighter. So what you do in this case is you create a line here where you're connecting, in this case, the higher lows that have been put in during this period of consolidation, and you can kind of see a sloping, a down-sloping pattern of lower highs. That's how you draw this type of consolidation, right? So what do you look for? You look for, of course, either a breakout above the upper trend line or a breakdown below the lower trend line. A breakout above would be bullish, breakout below would be bearish. I put volume on because when you're looking at a stock's price, and you're trying to anticipate what the stock will do after the period of consolidation, what you want to see during that period is lower than average volume. What you want to see during the uptrend is higher volume, right? So you want conviction in the strong move higher, but you want kind of reservation or caution when price consolidates. A successful bull flag or a successful pennant always will have lower than average volume during that period of consolidation. Now, I don't see that here necessarily, right? I don't see lower volume. In fact, if I put on a 50-day moving average of volume, and we'll see, I probably have to change the color of that as well. All right, let me right-click, go to change style. Yeah, let's make that something that we can see. Make it red. looks like for the most part, although the last, I don't know, a couple of days towards the end of the consolidation period, you had a couple of lower volume days, but most of the time you were above average in terms of shares traded. Then you got the nice breakout on Friday, higher than average volume on Friday as well, and we're not done with today yet, but pretty good volume overall today. Don't love, and I didn't love Friday's close. I didn't like the candle that was left on Friday, and I don't love the candle that's being formed here today. So the candle that was formed on Friday, of course, we had a gap up on Friday. Friday was the CPI report, so cooler than inflation for September. Really gave a boost to the market there. Of course, on top of that is sentiment being boosted by not the cooler than expected inflation data, but also on hopes that the Fed will cut rates on Wednesday. So that really, was a nice surprise there. Of course, because expected was about 3.1%, I think it came out a little bit lower. Today, we gapped up again today on the news that U.S.-China trade tensions are easing, but we're fading again today. It remains to be seen how we close, but we did gap open. This is a filled green candle, so that means that the current price of the VectorVest composite is lower than the open. Okay? Don't love those candles. You can see that type, and I'm not trying to worry everybody, but at the end of uptrends, when you get those types of candles, right, the indecision, that was an indecision candle on October 3rd. That was another one, 2 in a row. So when the market makes a new high or made a new high here, and you get indecision, generally just a cause for caution, but we'll see how we move again tomorrow. Our bias is still to the upside. As always, we are doing our best, right, about keeping you guys on the right side of the market. It's difficult to do that when you have this type of market action and you have the color guard that flips back and forth between red and green, either daily or every other day. It's hard to be on the right side of the market when there is no right side of the market. But at least for now, we broke out of that period of consolidation. We're moving higher. Our bias is bullish. That's always what we want to lead with, right? So we have a green light in the price column of the color guard. I'm not sure if the kicker signal, let me get rid of this. I'm not sure if the kicker signal will turn bullish here. It just depends on if the 10 period moving average on the relative timing will be above the 15. Right now, they're both equal at 1.01. So unlikely that, barring a really late afternoon rally here today, that the 10 period moving average on RT will cross above the 15. Nevertheless, we still have a green light, right? So it's a green light buyer signal. Our guidance is very clear at the very top. We advocate that it is okay to buy stocks as long as the market continues to move higher. Okay? All right. Now, I'm going to spend the rest of today analyzing your stocks. So start typing them in there. You might have done that already, but I can't necessarily scroll up to see. But start typing them in there. I already created a watch list here for us today. I called it the Midday Market Update. Always like to put the date of the watch list name so I know when I created it. You can see I've done that a lot over the past, man. Look at that, 2022. I have watch lists in here. You ready? I don't know if I cleaned them out. Ton of watch lists. I have more searches than I do watch lists, but this is just over 20 years of kind of building out in this program. So midday market update, let's get started. I'm going to start adding symbols in there. Oh, man. TQQQ, NASDAQ ETF. I'm currently holding that in our swing trading coaching portfolio. I might not get to them all, guys, but I'm going to get to as many as I can. Palantir. QBTS, that's a quantum computing stock. That's a bit in the news lately as well. I'll talk about that. DRD, that's an oil stock. I'm sorry, a gold stock. HIMS, I'm also long HIMS in our coaching group. Hood, I'm also, you guys coaching group members, you know what I'm in. Hood, I'm also long Hood. Also long RGTI. Might as well put all the ones that I'm in there. CRDO. Amazon. Let's see, CNDS, Cadence, right? They report here soon. PBYI, oops, Cadence. There it is. Where is it? There it is. CDNS, I'm sorry. All right, I'm going to keep going here. I wanted to put a few in there first. Let me continue. Only put it, what? Guess, what's that, Joey? VIAV. Cool. All right. SNDK, huh? We'll put Apple in there. And Micron, sure. SoFi. Google. And just a few more here, guys. We got plenty. UAMY. You want to put USAR in there as well? All right. That's good for now. I'll get to yours. Okay. What is that? IESC. We'll put IESC in there as well. All right. There we go. Okay. So we got 20 stocks. Of course, when we sort or when we open up a watch list, when we build a watch list, we're ranked by VST. There's different ways that I like to rank watch lists, whether it's ones that I create or canned watch lists. I like looking at the S&P 500 watch list, sorting by CI, but we'll do that here as well. So sorted by VST, you got 20 stocks in here. You got Micron at the top, Google, SanDisk, DRD, IESC, so on. These are the best ones at the top, right? So Micron, undervalued. We'll go through this pretty quickly. You guys are all familiar with, our indicators and really how to determine a good stock from a bad stock, right? It doesn't take very long. Right away, Micron, undervalued. Tremendous long-term price appreciation potential, RV of 1.75. So this is a stock that, if you like, this should be in a long-term portfolio, a retirement portfolio, a successful investor portfolio, right? A portfolio where you're not trading actively, you're not trading in and out of positions very actively. They do, let's see if I scroll over, they do pay a dividend, not a very big one, but they do pay a dividend, got a good safety, decent growth, good YSG score there as well. YSG combines dividend yield, dividend safety, dividend growth into one indicator. It's the VST of dividends, I guess you can say. It's on a 0 to 2 scale. So it's above 1, 1.20. Doesn't pay all that much, but you're still getting a check there. What is it, every quarter? Let's see. Let's put on our dividends. Yeah, every quarter. Okay? And I did that because some companies pay monthly dividends. But Micron at the top. So 3-time winner here, really, right? Undervalued, good VST, buy rating. If this is something that you own, this is a stock that you own, you're probably sitting pretty. You don't have to worry too much about it. I'll graph all of them in a moment. You can see the price is well above our stop price, got a really good earnings growth rate as well, 38%. Basically, this number is our earnings growth forecast, what we're forecasting Micron to to grow their earnings over the next year. 38%, that's fantastic. Google is second on the list. We say that this is fairly valued or fully valued. Which one? I keep forgetting. When price is within 10% of the value, okay, so this is fairly valued because price is currently lower than its value. It's within 10% of its value, so we say that the stock is fairly valued. If if price was above value but still within 10% of value, we would say that the stock is fully valued. Okay, so it's fairly valued here, just a little bit lower than the current value. Across the board, great numbers as well. RV 1.36, so tremendous long-term upside potential. It's also safe, as is Micron. It's also in an uptrend. Pretty important, right? You want stocks, you want to be owning stocks that are in uptrends. You want stocks that you're interested in to be in uptrends as well. VST 1.53, good CI. I love this indicator, guys. CI, Comfort Index. You've heard of the Ulcer Index? The Ulcer Index rises the more and the further a stock price falls. CI is the opposite of that. It rises the more and the further a stock price rises. It's on a 0 to 2 scale. I like it higher generally than 1.24, but it's still above 1, which is considered favorable. Okay, it's also got a buy rating. The ones at the top of the list, guys, are great. Now, some are a little better than others. I know SanDisk here, it's overvalued, right? That's more than 10% of price is more than 10% above its value. Still got good long-term upside potential. Little bit below average safety at 0.97, but it's in a strong uptrend. Got a great VST score, really good CI as well. Earnings growth rate of 44%. Does it pay a dividend? It does not pay a dividend, okay? And then as you get further down the list, guys, the quality of stocks suffers. The quality of stocks suffers as you get further and further down the list. Now, this is actually a pretty good list. You guys are pretty good stock pickers. There are no sell ratings at the moment, okay? All holds and buys, which is great. But the stocks at the bottom aren't the best stocks, fundamentally speaking. USAR, it's a United States rare earth mining company, mineral company, currently priced at 21 bucks. We think it's worth, we think the stock is worth, we think the company's worth $1.62. Well, that's not great, right? It's not a great start to analysis if you're thinking about or considering buying USAR. Grossly overvalued. You're paying quite a premium for a stock that we think is only worth $1.62. Now, that's not the worst part of it. You got to keep going. Relative value of 0.04. Remember, this is on a 0 to 2 scale. We want this number to be above 1. It's clearly not. It's as close to, just about as close to 0 you can get. So not a ton of upside potential given their profitability, right? So what is RV? Let's look at the definition of RV real quick. Well, I say long-term price appreciation potential. Okay, but what does that really mean? It says this indicator is far superior to a simple comparison of price and value because it is computed from an analysis of projected price appreciation 3 years out. We use AAA corporate bond rates and risk as well, and that is all included in relative value. So it's the upside potential based on those factors. We feel it does not have tremendous long-term upside potential. This stock is very news sensitive, isn't it? You know, especially with rare earth minerals being in focus, in a number of different avenues. Russia, Ukraine, China as well. So there's a lot of headwinds potentially, but also a lot of roadblocks for a company like this. As far as our safety score goes, it's also below 1. So they just haven't demonstrated a strong ability to grow their earnings every quarter, every year. And the stock is also in a downtrend. It's a great trade when it's in an uptrend. I've traded USAR a number of times in our swing trading coaching group portfolio. Had some mixed results, but made some money on a few of the trades. But right now, it's in a very strong downtrend, so it wouldn't even be a consideration. If you can short it, it'd be probably a good profitable short. It's down 10% today. Let's just chart graph the stock real quick. Okay, here's the chart here. USAR, again, when it's in a nice strong uptrend, it's a pretty good trade. Recently, though, look at that doji. So I talk about these types of candlesticks, guys, at the end of uptrends, right? So this is clearly an uptrend, very overbought at the time. We're talking about October 10th. Even though that candle is green, you can see price opened higher, man. It ran all the way to 37.85 that day, but closed near the low. The following day on October 13th, also another gap up, a run on that day to almost about 44, but then also the same thing, a close near the low, and then the bottom fell out there the following day and has done nothing pretty much but fall. Again, this would be a good short. It does look like it's off of its lows. It's interesting that now we have kind of a bullish reversal candle today. Day's not over yet, we'll see, but that's kind of a hammer, right, or a dragonfly doji. Indecision at the moment because the price is, the current price is right where the stock opened, but that long lower wick tells us that price moved down to 2015 during the day. Not a solid investment, guys, long term. You might want to consider, look, I'm sorry, let me go back. When would you want to consider taking this trade? Well, let's look at RT. RT is currently below 1, right? But when RT crosses above 1 and is above 1, I think that might be a nice opportunity if you were looking at stock like this to participate. Short-term swing trade, not a long-term investment, but when RT is above 1, you can see that you have opportunity, right? You have potential there, and RT is currently below 1, so you just lay off for now. You wait for, and it also has a hold rating as well. This stock has had nothing but a hold and a sell. Rhetorical question. Think about this for a moment. Why could a stock, or why was this stock not a buy rating, even though price was accelerating higher and the RT was above 1? Why was this stock not a buy rating? The answer to that is the fundamentals are poor. We don't give fundamentally poor companies buy ratings that often, okay? Fundamentals are behind that rating, right? Because the VST score has to be above 1 for the stock to get a buy rating. So if we go back to the chart, spending way too much time on this stock, but just one more point I wanted to make. Go back to the chart. Let me go add parameter, go capital appreciation. Let's put VST on. You can see, for the most part, the VST score was below 1 for quite some time. And even when it was above 1, we just didn't see the acceleration or the separation between price and value. Price and our stop price. So that's why we don't give stocks like that a buy rating that often. All right, as we move from bottom to from top, you got Rigetti here as well. This is another overvalued stock. This is a quantum computing company. In the news recently on Friday, there was a report that came out that the Trump administration is planning on, and it was really vague and ambiguous in the headline. It said that the Trump administration is planning on investing or in talks to invest $10 million into a few quantum computing companies. Okay. Then there was some fake news reports that came out that was not true. The reports were that. So the ambiguity is the headline in the report was the Trump administration is in talks not with computing companies, but just in talks in general about investing into those companies. So there was some confusion there, but it's up nicely today. So up another 5.5% today. And Motley Fool came out with another follow-up article today. So there is some credence to that report that came out last Friday. Nevertheless, guys, it's still a trade, not a very long-term investment at the moment, right? You want to spend your time buying stocks long-term that look like the ones that Micron looks like, or Google, or SanDisk, right? Where you're undervalued, price is below value, right? So there's that room to grow. Price and value will meet eventually over the next 1 to 3 years. I'd rather buy an undervalued stock so that if price and value did meet, price will eventually rise and meet value. If it's the opposite, if price is overvalued, then when they eventually meet, you're looking at a convergence and price falling to value. So you want to buy stocks that look like this, guys, right? RV's above 1. If you're more a conservative investor, really focused on capital preservation, RS is going to be a key indicator, right? Let's take VIAV, right? So you're a little bit overvalued there. You got decent upside potential, 1.11, but you got a lower than average safety score. This might not be a stock that you would populate your retirement portfolio with, okay? It's in a pretty good uptrend. This might be a nice swing trade for you. Let's take a look at the chart here quick. Yeah, might be a nice swing trade for you. This is a high momentum type trade. We're looking at a 52-week high. Let me go to a 6-month chart. Let's see, 50-day. I'm going to take off the 50-day moving average volume. Let's take off VST. I'll put volume on. Price is going to be above all of your major moving averages. I like to look for stocks that are pulling back. I see a nice strong trend here, right? So what I would just do first is I take an extended line, and I'm looking at a higher low than that That's a higher low than it was put in August. You got another higher low here. So I'm going to take a line, an extended line, and try to connect as many data points as I can. I'm trying to connect as many higher lows as I can, or that the line will connect during this strong uptrend. I think that currently this stock, VIAV, is a little bit overbought. If I put stochastics on, probably tell me that, right? Put stochastics on. If it's above 80, it's overbought. Definitely is above 80. I would look for a pullback to this trend line. I would also take a look at which moving average is following that trend line the closest. So I would start with, I'm going to take a guess, maybe a 20. Yeah, 20 looks to be a pretty strong dynamic support for a stock like this. Okay, so if you are in agreement that this might be a little bit overvalued and overbought technically, whoops, you're going to look for a pullback. You got a little indecision day today as well, right? Almost a hanging man pattern forming today. Keep the stock in a watch list. Look, it's in a really strong trend, right? It's got a 1.71 RT. It's in a really strong trend. A nice correction or consolidation back to the 20-period moving average or this trend line might offer a nice buying zone for you. But it is in a strong uptrend. So if you're taking a look at the stocks that are in the strongest uptrends, right, sort by RT, and I would run through that same exercise. Sorted by RT now, let's graph them all. Okay, let's graph them all and run through that same exercise. So here's Micron. 20-period moving average. So price is above the 20-period moving average. I would say here that it is also down a little bit today. What's the market doing? Have we softened? No, not too bad. Okay, interesting. But Micron's down. It's the top VST stocks stock in the entire database. So that was a little strange to see that it's down today with everything up. But if I go back to the chart, this is good. You know, a little overbought, right? Needs to cool down a little bit. You know, if you would have asked me what I thought about this stock here, I would have said the same thing. I would say, you know what? Probably a little bit overbought. Stochastics a little bit high there for my liking. It's above 80. I would say, you know, put the 20-period moving average on. In this case, even, I would think that there's probably a moving average that's hugging, right? Because the consolidation that happened here didn't stop at the 20. It stopped above the 20. I'm going to fast forward a couple of days here. This consolidation that happened there at on October 10th was also above the 20 after the new high there recently. This period of consolidation after that high was above the 20 as well. 20 is pretty good support. I might look at something like a 13-day EMA. Whoops. Right? 13-day EMA hugs those lows a little bit more closely. So if I was looking at this stock and saying, you know, a little bit too overbought right now, it's down today, I don't want to buy it anyway because it's down today. But if this comes back and kisses the 13-day EMA, you got yourself a nice buying opportunity here with this one. Okay? I'm going to keep the 13-day on. Here's SanDisk. I'm thinking the same thing here. You got what's called a dark cloud cover today. That's a bearish candlestick formation. It's a reversal pattern. Look at the stock's price, though. This thing has been on a tear lately. Dark cloud cover. Price gapped up today, opened higher than previous day's high, but is currently below the midpoint of Friday's candle. That's called a dark cloud cover. You can almost picture kind of the red candle serving as a dark cloud over the uptrend, right? Because you are in a really strong uptrend. But look at that 13-day EMA and how these periods of consolidation that occurred a couple of times, where did it stop? Where did they stop? Right at the 13-day EMA. Another good stock, guys. Notice how I'm not doing this for the stocks at the bottom of the list because we already kind of went through those, right? They're in downtrends. I like stocks in uptrends, but I also like to wait for pullbacks during those uptrends. And the ones at the bottom of the list, we don't even have to consider because they're already in downtrends, right? They may be bottom fishing opportunities at some point, but those aren't stocks that I'd be looking to trade here moving forward, given now that we have an overall bullish market bias, right? We've established that in our kind of one of our first segments when, you got to determine that. What is your market bias? You bullish, you bearish, are you neutral? Well, we're bullish right now, but right now with this dark cloud cover formation, the stock is down today. I hope it comes all the way back to that 13-day EMA because that is the kind of the dynamic support zone that I'll be looking at, right? Let's look at the next one. We looked at VIAV, right? Google, ooh, interesting. All right, so here you have an uptrend, right? RT is high, well above 1. There's your 13-day EMA. Clearly, price is above the 13-day EMA. What has happened recently? Well, Friday, you got a breakout, okay? Let's go back a day. All right, let's go back to Thursday. This is what the hard right edge of Google looked like on October 23rd, right? Uptrend, yes, but stalled because price failed at least late last week to break above the highs that were put in at the end of September. So if you were asking me about this stock here, I'd say, you don't want to buy at resistance. That's the last thing you want to do when you're trading is buy at resistance. By the way, of course, Google is a long-term investment, right? There are long-term investments, there are short-term trades, and sometimes there are both, right? Because Google should be a stock that you have in your long-term, steady Eddie retirement type portfolios, right? It's also a stock that you can trade, supplement the long-term returns that you're getting from a stock like Google with short-term, quicker gains. I did a special presentation on that a year ago, kind of blending fundamental valuation with technical analysis and explaining how, even if you have a stock like Google or Apple or Microsoft in a long-term portfolio, doesn't mean that you can't trade it, right? Doesn't mean that you can't swing trade it. So if this was a stock that you had in your long-term portfolio, Friday was the breakout on some pretty good volume. That's very important. Breakouts on low volume are not strong breakouts, aren't breakouts that you should consider trading. Volume has to pick up, and you could see it did on Friday. It's still early today, but you're getting follow through here. Today would have been the day that you take this trade. Technically, you're not supposed to take a trade on the day that it breaks out. You're supposed to wait for follow through the next day. Okay, it's kind of textbook breakout entry, waiting for follow through. You know why? Because there's a lot of times that I've seen breakouts intraday that only resulted in a sell-off at some point, and then price closing either below your support, because it is now support, right? When price breaks above resistance, it becomes support. So you get that initial move above resistance, but then you get the fade and the close below support. So kind of a fake out breakout. That's why you don't take the trade on that day. You wait for follow through. Wait for that follow through. Wait for that conviction, and we're getting that today. 2 ways to trade breakouts. Number one, as I'm explaining here today, where you wait for the breakout and then you wait for follow through the next day, or you can now wait for the retest, guys, of this support zone. Okay? So if you did take a position today, you could add to that position if eventually, right? You get the retest of support. It's going to happen at some point. It might not be imminent. Remember, they report earnings on Wednesday. But if you took this trade ahead of earnings, great. You got a nice breakout. You got some good volume. You can think about adding to your position if price retests that support zone. Okay? Here's TQQQ. Also a breakout Friday. So here also kind of a little mini ace, I wouldn't call it an ascending triangle, kind of a wedge pattern as well, almost a pennant, right? But here is the same pattern that the VectorVest composite was going through. You had some higher lows put in, a couple of mini lower highs, and then Friday, of course, you got the breakout and then confirmation today. This, by the way, is your triple leveraged NASDAQ ETF. That reminds me. I told you guys I would report on the Nets, Nitro, and Turbo trading systems. I want to do that. We got about 10 minutes left, but I want to just do that real quick. If I go to portfolios here and I go to the VectorVest portfolios, the two trading systems that I'm talking about, the Nets Turbo and Nets Nitro. Turbo, which owns and holds QLD during a confirmed up, did fill a position here today. Nitro, which holds TQQQ, during a confirmed up, did not. Okay? Let's explain why Turbo did. I'm going to click on details. Should open up another window. And it explains at the top here. Actually, no, it explains here. I can go to details. This is fine. In a confirmed up, which you can see we're currently in, this trading system looks to buy long the QLD if and only if its RT is less than or equal to 1.4. And if we look at QLD's RT on Friday, it was 1.38. So as of the close of Friday, it didn't buy it on Friday. It bought it today. But as of the close of Friday, since we are in a confirmed up, or since we got a confirmed up on Friday, and QLD's RT on Friday was less than 1.4, it triggered an order to buy QLD at the open today. Okay? It is using a 30% gain, 5% loss as its exit criteria, or a confirmed down, whichever happens first. Okay? Everybody cool there? Now, Nitro, which holds TQQQ during a confirmed up, is currently in cash. And why is it currently in cash? Mechanism here is a little different. It looks at also, I'm sorry, not a little different, but it is a triple leveraged ETF. It also looks at the RT score of TQQQ to be below less than or equal to 1.4. Well, you got to think that if QLD's RT, which is the double leveraged ETF, was at 1.38, very unlikely that the triple leveraged NASDAQ ETF's RT would be less than 1.38, and as of the close of Friday, it was not. It was at 1.56, so just a little bit higher than it's supposed to be or that it needs to be in order for this system to execute an order. I saw, I don't know where it was, maybe the VectorVest Investor Community Room or maybe the Swing Trading Coaching Group Room. I saw somebody say, hey, listen, well, if QLD was purchased, and if it goes on a run, then TQQQ should do the same thing. And I agree. That's exactly how it should go. And unfortunately, if you're trading this one, you might sit in cash for a while, but look at the long-term performance, guys. I also have another one here. If I go to my portfolios, I have one that I put in, I think it was right after Tampa. Here's another one that I have, guys, a Nitro from August 20th of 2024, so a little over a year. You can see that there were times when this trading system was in cash for a few months. A couple of, one time you looked at the market and were thankful that you were in cash. And there were other times where you looked at the market and were wondering why you were in cash because the market was going up. Trust the system. It's up 71% in the last year and 2 months, with it being in cash for about, I don't know, that's August. There's 2 months there. It's 2 months there. So 4 of the last 14 months, this trading system has been in cash, but it's still up about 71%. This recent campaign, if I go to reports and I go to trade history, this recent campaign, you walked away with about 13% on TQQQ. On that recent campaign after the confirmed down signal when it picked it up. Okay, so it was and here. Oh, and I'm sorry, also in cash for this period right here as well. Okay, then it picked it up at the end of August of 2025, and then just recently closed it because we got it confirmed now. Okay, so Nitro in cash, but Turbo is currently long with QLD. Remember too, these trading systems are managed end of day. There's a setting here. If I go to edit, there's a setting here in the Genius. If you're using the Genius to manage the trading system, or if you're using the Robo-Trader to manage the trading system, there is a setting here that's very important. How often do you want the Genius to check your positions? Make sure you have once per day after market close selected. Do not have throughout market hours selected. If you have throughout market hours selected, it's going to generate orders and trigger orders during the day. That's not how this system is traded. It's traded on an end of day basis only. So make sure that setting there is set. Okay, back to the watch list, back to the graphs real quick. I'm going to go through these pretty quickly here, guys. Okay, QBTS, this is a quantum company. I think this is one of the three, Rigetti, this one, and one other that was mentioned in that report about the Trump administration in talks or planning on investing a very small amount, by the way. I think it was only about 10 million. I don't know if that was 10 million per company. Very small amount. But the stocks are reacting nicely. Here, this one just crossed above its 13-day EMA. So wasn't the 13-day EMA support during its uptrend, right? And then the stock broke down below the 13-day EMA. Is it also crossing above its 20-day EMA? Where's the 20? There it is. Yep, just crossing above the 20-day EMA as well. I don't think it has a buy rating. It's a hold rating, but at least it's, things are improving here a little bit. What's the RT score? 1.61. So, wow, it's gone from below 1 to 1.61 very quickly. So I like this setup as well. Here's with Apple. Okay, you're in a strong uptrend. You got an RT of 1.54. There's your 13-day EMA. I don't know. So here, what I'm looking for is a moving average that is going to kiss that low, and kiss those lows, right? Because it doesn't seem like in this case, and not all moving averages are this. Not all moving averages make sense for different stocks. It depends on the strength of the trend, right? This isn't an accelerated uptrend, sure, but it doesn't look like the 13-day EMA is your support zone here. Is it the 20-day EMA? Doesn't look like that's the case either. I'm going to guess that the 50-day EMA for a stock like Apple, 50-day EMA is going to come close to kissing that low, come close to kissing those other lows. Actually, kiss that one. But now you're accelerating a little bit higher here. So I look at the 20-day as well and look for support there. You can also just draw just a simple trend line here, guys, right? Simple trend line, connecting those higher lows, and that can be your buy zone here with this one, right? So you're a little overbought. Always ask me about a stock here. I'm going to tell you the same thing. It's too overbought. I know it's in an uptrend. But the worst thing that can happen to you, right, when you buy a stock is that it goes down immediately. And when you have parabolic moves like this that are not sustainable, that's likely what you get pretty much imminently, right? You get profit taking. I look for that, I wait it out, and you look for better buying opportunities back towards average pricing, back towards moving averages, back towards trend lines. And I would have said the same thing here. You got FOMO here, right? You look at a stock like this, you got FOMO. Big volume days over the last couple of days, you say this is it. Big breakout. By the way, whoops, I'm going to draw a horizontal line. Right in this zone right here, right? That is where I would look for price to retreat back to before I would consider taking something like this, okay? Price consolidates there for a little while. Doesn't really move all that much. And then there you go. There's what you look for. Look at that. Price came back down, kissed that trend line, and then retrace from it. That's your zone right there. That's your buy zone. Same goes for the current price. Wait for it to come back down to the trend line, or at the very least, maybe this zone right here, because it used to be resistance, now it's support. You actually got a breakout above that, and then the immediate retest of that zone, and then a retracement off of it. So I look for maybe a retest of that support zone or a trend line retest as well for Apple. All right, moving into the next one. Hood. Man, look at this one, guys. Look at Hood. Now, I don't know if right now is a good buy. I'm almost considering taking profits on this one. I took this trade on, was it either Friday or there on Thursday. Look at the 50-day moving average here for Hood. This is Robinhood, right? So strong uptrend, retreat, kiss of the 50. Had the 50 been good support for this stock recently? It had, right? It had been. Really nice support. Same kind of phenomenon here where you had a pullback, kiss of the 50, retracement off of the 50 on good volume. There was your buy, and then the stock price took off after that. There was your kiss of the 50 here. Nice little candlestick formation, by the way. This is called a one white soldier. Price opened on Thursday higher than the previous day's close. Price closed on Thursday higher than the previous day's open. Nice one white soldier pattern. Good follow through on Thursday, and then a really nice day today. Approaching the swing high, so if you guys took this one, you might want to consider taking profits at that swing high. Okay, but good. This is the type of setup I'm talking about, guys, where you get, the recent kiss of the 50. Okay, IESC way too overextended here. I'd wait for a kiss of the 50. Here's gold. Gold is interesting, guys. Gold is not a safe haven anymore in this market right now, so I'd be a little hesitant. Look, if you could break above some of these prices right here, immediately push off of the 50, break above, $26, you might be moving in the right direction. But I would stay away from gold right now, given that it's down so much. If I go back to investing.com, what do we say gold was at? Markets indices, we'll go major indices there. Look at the commodities. Yeah, gold's down 3% still. Silver's down 4%. So no rally, no intraday rally just yet with gold. But let's just recap, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed today. Looked at a few really good setups potentially. And taught you a few things on breakouts and how to trade them. There's different ways to trade breakouts. We're seeing breakouts a lot more now, right? Because the market is breaking out. We saw a lot of consolidation occur over the last couple of weeks, but we're seeing a lot of stocks begin to break out now, so offering up some pretty good trade opportunities. Dow's still up 240, NASDAQ up 390, S&P having a good day, up 68, VVC up 37 cents. We got one green light in the price column of the color guard, guys. Our guidance is bullish. We're advocating that it is okay to buy stocks. Do your homework. Maybe apply some of the things that you learned here today to find good trading opportunities. Price closer to moving averages as opposed to pulling too far away from them. Just kind of your algebra 101, right? Or learning about mean and averages, and the further anything gets pulled away from an average, the more likely it is to revert back to it. Same goes for stock prices. So look for prices that are in strong uptrends but are closer to average pricing, maybe giving you some better opportunities. Okay, have a great day, everybody. Really enjoyed today. You will have Ryan back this week for your Wednesday session. So that's it. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see everybody soon.